I think we see 2 PEM members coming here.
They'll probably keep coming during our
Anyway, hello. Good evening. Yes, please listen Dharma. Please listen Dharma with motivation of the Bodhicitta. Just like usual. At the same time, again, please remember that how important to generate positive motivation in our mind. We beginning of our day, beginning of our practice, beginning of our every good or every action. And then also please remember to carry that positive motivation throughout your day by recalling, by remembering, especially when we have difficult situation. Please don't let our mind fall into hopeless state. Don't let our mind fall into any of those negative state. Make sure that I really hold my positive motivation and make sure that I use it when I face difficult situation. That is a crucial, right? One of the main benefits we can gain from practicing, training our mind, is to be able to carry that positive motivation and use it when I face difficult situation. Otherwise, if I don't use positive mind such as compassion when I face difficult situation, and then all my practice that I learned, all the practice that I'm trying to do become not useful. So what we learned from hearing, from reading, from your meditation practice, from your own mind training practice, is to really able to use those practice that you have done, the things that you have gained, to really to be able to use them when you face difficult situation. So please remember that that's a really, really crucial. And if we really do that, we are always practicing. We are always training our mind into positive. If we do that, we are always creating positive action within my mind, within my life, always. So if I can able to prevent if I can able to prevent developing any type of gross anger, gross negative mind, gross deluded mind, gross mental inflection, by holding the motivation that positive motivation that I have developed within my mind, and that's a really, really, really wonderful practice. Really wonderful practice, very important practice too. So, as we spend our day, we get up in the morning, as I always ask you to make sure that you spend few minutes to generate positive motivation. And then you generate it already, and it's there now, and then you engage into your daily activities. But you carry that, and make sure you remember it, and carry that. Continue. See, you do whatever you have to do, but there's a little part of your mind. One part of your mind holds it, and then you keep. In your daily life, keep recalling, maybe once in 2 hours, once in 1 hour. But particularly when you really face some situation, and make sure that you remember it. You remember the motivation, and then move on with taking care of that situation. And through that, it really becomes wonderful, wonderful practice. And through that, we can say, how can I stop creating negative action? It is the way how we stop. This is the way how I could stop creating negative action. Because no matter what I do in that, without holding that state, using that mind to face that situation, my motivation is really kind, positive. I have no motivation to hurt anybody. I have no motivation to, do bad things towards anybody, towards any situation. All I'm trying to do is take care of things. If I say something to my friend or others, I will do it. But my mind is in the state of compassion, in the state of loving kindness, in the state of understanding or renunciation. There's no negative action coming from my mind. So all those action that I do will actually not become real negative actions. So that's why I see action really can become negative because of negative motivation. If I don't have the negative motivation, even I have to say something that he have done is not correct. If that word asking to change or explaining, still is not a negative action. But if I really say it out of mean mind, out of anger, and out of really, really negative state of mind, my mind is already creating negative action, negative energy, negative experiences already arising, and then the things that I saying through my mouth, through the speech, can become negative because of the power of the motivation. And so that's why I see, and then it can continue with having more and more negative because of the source of the negative is there, which is the negative motivation. So in our mind training practice, in meditation practice based on the Buddha Dhamma's teaching, is mainly to really correcting our motivation. So train my mind into compassion as a motivation, train my mind into having loving kindness, train my mind into understanding of karma, nature of samsara. Since having that understanding in my mind as a motivation. Again, please remember, when I say to you, I don't know, you remember that maybe I have said to you long time ago, or a number of times, even in the past, but not recent past. See, in Tibetan, in terms for motivation, called what? Kunlung, right? Kunlung means motivation in Tibetan. Kunlung. So it means Kunlung Chöbe means did you generate motivation? Kunlung Yabu Chöbe, did you develop good motivation? Maybe Kunlung Nyamba Chöbe, did you generate bad motivations? Like that. Kunlung. That's a motivation term that we have in Dharma, in the text called Kunlung. Means Kun is all, everything. Kun. Hungwa is like out of or influence, both. You can go with the both. So all means mind action of mind, action of body, and action of speech. So every action, every activities, influenced by, out of, here. So now if it's compassion, every activities that I engage verbally, right, physically, mentally, must influence by compassion, or engage into those actions out of compassion. So Kunlung. This is the meaning that just share that from the sutra. Say Kunlung. So now you can see when we say motivation means is what? If you say compassion is my motivation, so means you're basically saying is that I wanted to, I am already committed to engage into every actions influenced by compassion, out of compassion. So when I say, my motivation is anger, so it means every action that I'm about to engage is out of anger or influenced by anger. So think of that. See, when I say I generate positive motivation, means I wanted to engage into every actions out of positive mind, influenced by positive mind, not negative mind. Right? So you already made that. So now it is our responsibility. Once I generate compassion in my mind as a motivation, it becomes now to carry compassion throughout my daily activities. That become responsible through making that commitment. When once I generate compassion in my mind as a motivation, so simply I'm saying that, I have committed to engage into actions out of compassion. So it means that become my responsibilities now. So that's why second important practice comes, carrying your positive motivation throughout your day. So it's here. I don't know, in English term motivation, right? In Tibetan, in Sutra, Kunlung. But the meaning Kunlung is is an idiom, two terms they put together, Kunlung together, is idiom, but when you break the meaning, it means influence, influenced by compassion. Every action is influenced by compassion, or engage into every action out of compassion. Please. And then, very last important practice that I always remind you is, after this too, is dedicating. That also means sharing. Right? Sharing. Whatever good deeds, good actions, that we gather, that we accumulate today, always nice to share with others. And always turn into the causes turn into cause and condition that will benefit all of us. And not only benefit temporarily, also to benefit for the long time. We wanted to turn, our virtues and merit into something that can benefit for a long time for all of us. And that's why we won't say, I turn my virtues and merit turn into the causes to get some, happiness for tomorrow, good things for tomorrow, or get to something, material things for myself, like that. We don't advise. Sutra did not advise us to dedicate in that way. They really instructed us to really dedicate, to turn those virtues into becoming causes and condition for everyone to achieve compassion in their mind, the loving kindness in their mind, wisdom in their mind, and then finally to achieve, really become a causes for everyone to achieve full enlightenment. So we strongly, based on Buddha's teaching, based on mind training teachings, instruct us not to just dedicate for temporary purpose. Mainly dedicate really for everyone and for long time benefit, an actual benefit. That benefit can really able to benefit, brings more and more other benefit out of that. That is like, if I can able to have a virtues to develop compassion, and as I engage as a result of that action, I come to engage into practice of compassion. But just engaging into that, there will be new virtues that I automatically accumulate by engaging into practice of compassion. As a result of that virtue, I am continually creating more virtues to have more experience of developing compassion in my mind. So that's why, please dedicate in that way. So, end of our gathering here, as well as end of your day, end of your, end of your every good deed that you do. And Buddhism also, mind training teaching also really advise us to turn into, every daily activities, even including eating food, even relaxing, even having, relaxing, turn into the Dharma practice. Turn into Dhamma practice. Don't do those actions, those daily activities out of just samsaric mind. Don't just turn them into having some samsaric experience. Really do it, relax, enjoy your time, and enjoy your food. At the same time, make it or turn into becoming more useful than just enjoying the food. And that also really comes from the motivation. Here we say, I obtained this present, this human life now. I have the wonderful opportunity, and I can do a lot of good things, such as developing compassion on helping others, having a mind of benefiting other sentient beings. And this body, this present human body, gives me wonderful opportunity to do that. So I do need this human body in healthy and more longer, where I can able to use those moments, use those time to really develop those compassion and wisdom and engage into action of benefiting others. So for that, I take care of my body. For that, I enjoy the food. For that, I go to work. So see, here is the purpose is not just making this present life as a living. That's why Buddha in mind training teachings really teaches us to turn into our actions into more deeper levels, not just for making our life living. Just living in a normal way, just eating and sleeping and that things. And that things, what mind training teaching says, that thing can be done by almost every sentient beings. Almost every sentient beings. So we as a human being, I think 2 weeks ago we briefly spoke about that human being nature we have now is to really able to use this present life to turn into Dharma. And so our daily activities turn into supporting for our Dharma practice, for supporting to turn our mind into wisdom to be able to benefit other sentient beings. So we will say, I go to sleep also to benefit other sentient beings. I eat to benefit other sentient beings. I work to benefit other sentient beings. I'm not sleeping just for myself. I'm not eating just for myself. I'm not working just for myself. So every 24 hours a day, every activity is within our 24 hours a day. We can use all of those to into this and with out of mind to benefit other sentient beings, and then every action become Dharma practice. Because our main aim is to actually develop those mind. And as a human, I still rely on this and this and this condition, and to give them support, and I'm doing that. Anyway, so these are the normal, regular that I always remind you beginning of our gathering. And so please do that. Please generate, motivation. And another point that I want to remind you, see how well I meditate, how long I meditate. I can meditate 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours per day, but if I really don't if I don't generate positive motivation and do not hold that positive motivation throughout my day, my meditation of 2-3 hours will not be so effective in my mind. I may experience good while I'm doing those 2-3 hours. I may create good actions, good karma, by doing that within 2-3 hours. But in an actual long run, it's still not really get into so much, because the rest of my timing, I'm not really holding the positive motivation. And so that will not. So please remember that too. Okay. These are the beginning of our gathering. I'd like to remind you. And then last few weeks, we've been sharing about meditation on. We've been sharing on how to meditate, and meditation on precious human lives, which we did last weekend. And then we also began to meditate on. I also shared to meditate on the beginning of the impermanent. And I went with you over the benefits of, the advantage about meditating on impermanent, and disadvantage of not meditating on impermanent. So, please remember those. And it is very crucial to have understanding and meditation and training our mind into impermanent, also remembering impermanent, not to just make us feel scared or any others, just to really have a proper right concept or aspect of this present life, as well as every hour experience. At the same time, it also have a benefit of not really having a so strong attachment in my own life. Also, not to having such a strong attachment on friends that I friends and families and things, and also experience. Yes, they are wonderful. My life is also wonderful. We must use it meaningfully. We have a wonderful friends. Really nice to be. Must try to be nice to them and helpful for them. We also, experience good experience. Enjoy those experience, but at the same time to see they are all in the nature of impermanent. I myself is impermanent. And since beginning of time and until now, everyone who have took birth as who have took birth, and they all experience impermanent temporarily, and also the gross impermanent they experience. So the last final impermanent which everyone experience. Wow. Nice. Wow, you got a big sound when you arrived.
Sorry.
No.
This guy came by train.
Anyway, so everyone who have took birth since beginning less till today, everyone been in the nature of impermanent. They are temporarily changed to place, and finally everyone experienced the gross impermanent, which is separating from this, their own body they have took, the birth they have took. So same, look at in our life too. We are in that journey, and mind training teaching teaches us to remember that, not to get too attached to our own body and own experience and own relatives and own friends. At the same time, also to remember that every opportunity that I have now must use to really develop something that can be meaningful for myself and others, not only this life, also for many, many, many lives. Also can be truly benefit to my mind when I really need actual help. And that can come, that preparation, and the preparation of doing that can come from understanding of impermanent, and actually doing that as I prepare, doing that also comes from understanding of impermanent, and also while doing it, having having strength, having good focus, having good concentration, having good energy, all comes from that understanding of impermanent. So that's why, as we go over last Wednesday, those 6 benefits, 6 advantages that comes about remembering or thinking or meditating on impermanent, and there are 6 disadvantage that also can come or arise based on mind, based on not remembering the impermanent. So in here, in mind training teachings, the most the last one each one their point was, as I spend my day, as I see how my mind is traveling, and when I come close, when I get closer and closer to my final destination, and if I have not really, closer, and those opportunity is also getting shorter what I have, and may started to develop some concern about how I have spent my life and how my mind have been throughout all these in the past years, and that kind of concern may lead us to feel more regret about what I have not done, what I have not used those opportunities. So here mind training teaches us with the remembering or understanding of impermanent will really make us to take every advantage that I have, and then I can be more free from having that less concern in my mind, maybe no concern at all, because of what I have achieved, what I have really developed within my mind can lead us to feel very confident about the coming future of my coming future. So also you remember the quote that I have shared with you long time ago also from great master in Kajukpa tradition called Milarepa, and he says that I ran to cave out of fear of death, out of fear of realizing impermanent. And now in a sense, and then after I went to in a cave, and I have trained my mind into Dharma, and I have really now gained Dharma realization in my mind, and now I'm very, very, my mind is fully confident. So now I'm free from fear, experiencing fear because of realization, Dharma realization that I have developed in my mind. So in this case, what really encourages great Milarepa to get into Dharma practice so strongly is because of that concern that he developed within his mind, that some type of feeling or scary feeling he developed because of realizing impermanent, realizing the nature of impermanent is not something is going to happen there. It is part of my life. Is not part of others' object. Nature of death of myself is a part of my life, which will come sooner or later. And then when that comes, and there's if I remember what I have done in the past, not strong enough to develop things that needed helpful, and if I remember there are a lot of things that I've done is not really beneficial to me, and then that's the way how Milarepa mentioned in his teaching, says that I get that scare. And then when the Dharma really developed in my mind, the realization that really developed within my mind is completely feel full protected and full confidence. And without of that realization, there's no any kind of concern and fear. So here, that's why in the second, after the meditating on precious human life, what taught us to really meditate is meditate on impermanent. And among impermanent, as I mentioned last week, there are many objects of impermanent. And we are not taught to meditate on subtle impermanent at the beginning, because it will not be that useful for us at this time. We were strongly taught us to meditate on a gross impermanent at the beginning. And the gross impermanent also, there are many gross impermanents, such as if you break some glass, that's also gross impermanent. If you see something that is a falling, those also gross impermanent that we see it, but those also be not effective directly into my life, because it's not really part of my life. It's an external object. Is breaking something that is what we see is of course it is good to see, but it's not going to affect that directly into my mind, because it's not the gross impermanent of my own, something that is not my part of my life. So here, what meditation teaches us here is that one of the most powerful gross impermanent that we should meditate is experiencing, passing away, or experiencing dying or death that use. Of course, it's not to really scare us. It's there, and we don't have to really. Also, we know it is something that unavoidable. It's there that sooner or later we are going to face it. And much before we face it, we make our mind to realize it, and through this we will gain a lot of benefit of it. We will gain a lot of benefit of it. So here, what benefit we should experience from that is, first one says, we will develop the mind that really feel that I must practice Dharma. And the second benefit we will experience by meditating on that is, I must practice Dharma now. Now. Without postponing, without waiting. And the third benefit we experience from that is, I must practice Dharma purely or only. We can say purely, we can say only, both. See here, right? So here again, when we say practice Dhamma, again, really it does not mean to sit on cushion and do nothing. It doesn't mean don't go out, don't meet your friends, don't help your families, and don't eat food, don't wear. It's nothing. It's not talking about completely changing your lifestyle. You do what is necessary. You have friends to take care of. You have families to take care of. You have your own body to take care. You have your own life to take care. Do that. Dharma practice can really able to do them together. Dharma practice mainly is not physical object. It's really about your mind, how I carry my mind in that process, in doing that process. Just like how I share with you about developing positive motivation and carrying that positive motivation throughout your day, just like that. So in that case, see, I must practice Dharma. I must practice Dharma from now, and I must practice Dharma only. And here, I must practice Dharma now, right? Now, do practice, and from now and only means I don't take care of my life out of self-cherishing mind. I don't take care of my life out of any of mental inflation. I take care of my life out of understanding. I take care of my life out of compassion, out of bodhicitta. We'll just put one rule. Let's say, I take care of my life out of wish to benefit every other sentient beings. I take care of my family out of wish to benefit every other sentient beings. I also engage into my daily activities, going to work, and others, out of mind that wish to benefit every other sentient beings. Every other sentient being. So here, I make that connection between my motivation, that which is a wish to benefit every other sentient beings, with my every daily activities, including sleeping. And all my daily activities that I do becomes connected with that motivation. And I'm engaging into all of this action influenced by wish to benefit others, and I'm engaging all to action out of wish to benefit others. So then all my activities become Dharma practice. Dharma practice. So it become Dharma practice, and I'm doing now, and it become only Dharma practice now. So through this, all those time, I'm keeping my mind aware that I'm not letting anger to arise. I'm making sure that I'm not acting out of anger. See? Because I'm acting out of mind to wish to benefit others. So see, I'm really separating these two and not giving any chances, any space for those deluded mind to arise and take power, take control of my mind and take control of my life. That's crucial. So then see what becomes here. Free. And in order to really develop that true experience, actual experience that sees I must practice Dhamma, not woodly. not only from the mouth, internally, as well as from now, as well as only, it has to come from meditation too. It has to come from your training mind. It doesn't come from listening actually directly. It doesn't come from reading directly. It really has to come from your own training mind practice. How long is really up to you. It's really up to individual. Sometimes not that long, sometimes a little bit longer. It also can depends on how I spend my other part of daily activities. Other part of the daily activities, such as here. If I meditate on, let's say, if I'm meditating these days, 30 minutes on compassion. I meditate every day 30 minutes on compassion, and I follow those instructions. And if that 30 minutes of compassion meditation is going to be strong enough for me to be able to develop compassion in my mind, it can or it cannot. It depends. It depends on how I spend my 23 hours and 30 minutes. I'm just meditating 30 minutes, and 23 hours and 30 minutes, how I spend. If I spend completely as a samsaric being, if I spend completely as normal, the deluded mind let arise and say bad things, and all my mind is my mind is full of those delusions, and I'm saying I'm continually creating those 10 non-virtues, then that 30 minutes of my meditation practice will be very, very weak. It will certainly is not going to be strong enough. But if I spend those 23 hours and 30 minutes remembering compassion, letting myself act physically out of compassion, even I cannot do actually so much physically, I keep sending compassion towards others. I also wish them out of compassion if I see people suffer, if people having difficulties. And also I see people who are really having, seems good in samsaric life, but maybe creating a lot of negative actions, and also feel compassion for them. There are people who seems fine in normal life, in samsaric life, but maybe creating a lot of negativities. Some people feel fine, they may be lying to others, they may be cheating over others, they may be all of them are creating negative actions, are object to feel compassion. So if I let my mind to feel compassion towards others, remember about compassion, or read about compassion, talk about compassion, think about compassion, do what I have to do in my daily life, but my mind is remain, and then my 30 minutes on meditation and compassion can become very powerful. And very powerful. My 30 minutes of meditation will get a lot of support from the remaining hours. So even the meditation can go deeper. Even the meditation can go deep because there's a lot of support, a lot of energy, a lot of influence that I get from that remaining of the hours. So it can become very strong. So same thing like here now. When I come this situation, making a decision about saying I must practice Dhamma from now, I must do it now only, this decision also has to arise from meditation, training our mind, not from listening. And what we meditate here is we meditate on three things. To really able to develop that first understanding, we say I must practice Dhamma. And to do that, we must meditate on first step. So the impermanent or the death is certain. Do I realize it? I must say, based on my experience, I don't at this time. Internally, actually, I do say it is certain. And the second decision says I must practice Dhamma from now. And that decision, that decision comes when I meditate on That death is a certain, but is uncertain when it's going to happen. And then a third, I must do Dhamma practice only or purely. That decision must come by meditating on when the death comes, nothing can benefit except Dharma, except the wisdom that you have developed within your mind, except the virtue that you have developed within mind. Other than that, nothing. Meditating on that. So three things: life, death is certain, and when it's going to happen is uncertain. And when that happens, what can help? Nothing except Dharma. So here, what we were taught to meditate first, my present life is living now, wonderful life, precious human, that we just, the way we have learned and the way we meditate last Saturday, you see that, and I must take this opportunity, and you have, after doing the meditation on precious human life, you have developed the mind that wish so much to achieve the essence or meaning of this life. You already say, I wish to strive to achieve the meaning of this life, and I should do it because impermanent came. And now when you talk about impermanent and now bring the death here, it says, then you say, oh, this present human life is just so precious. It has so much freedom and so much good conditions and so much I'm free from a lot of bad conditions. I'm free from so many unfavorable conditions. So it is a very beautiful life, but it is still impermanent. Can meet its nature of the death any time. So here comes, I think about, it's certain to meet death. So here, and in this case, what Buddha taught us to think about here is see, it's a certain, because it will definitely come, and there's nothing can prevent it. It definitely comes, and nothing can prevent it. And there is no way that our life can be ed. No one can share years, see? Right? No one can share lifespan with me. Means is cannot. And then while I'm living here, before I come to experience that, see, I'm not only physically, especially mind, so much without really getting into Dhamma practice. Basically, it means not having, my mind feels like my mind have no time to practice Dhamma. And this is the way how I end up spending it. So look at that these three things. Number one says, it will come certainly, and nothing can prevent it, isn't it? It comes. If I need to think about every beings. Oh, this person came 100 years ago. This person came 200 years ago. That person came 300 years ago. Everyone has gone. It's certainly going to come. And nothing can prevent. Yes, whatever medication we take, it cannot prevent. Whoever tried to protect me cannot prevent. Whoever tried to help me to not to experience, nothing they exist in the universal, nothing that exists, not only in this planet, in the universal, nothing that exists can prevent. So it makes our mind say it's certainly going to come. And not only that, also, if life can be added, life can be shared, you can share 1 year, they can share, somebody can, then it will be different. But there's no way. In that nature, you can be very, very close to me. You are willing to share fully, but by the nature, you won't allow it. You won't allow to add to, even myself. And then I also end up spending my life without really getting into Dharma practice and always thinking that I'm busy, I make my mind, I let my mind to get its cues getting into Dharma practice by saying I'm busy with this, I'm busy with that, I'm busy with that. And see, and then, but however busy I am, when the time comes, it will not say that you did not get enough time to do Dharma practice, I will wait. That's why that is how true nature of that impermanent nature of the death is like that. So here comes, it's certainly going to come now. I realize it now. I must do Dharma practice. So that, see, in that meditation, begin with, I must do it. Begin with, it is a certain, because it will come, nothing can prevent. It cannot end, and I end up spending my life without having a time to do it. And with this realization, with this three realization on that, I come to realize that I must do Dharma practice. In other words, I must transform my mind into positive. I must protect my mind from developing that Dharma or wisdom in my mind. That's the point here. When we say practice Dharma, Dharma is a Sanskrit term. So basically, really, mean is protect our mind from experiencing sufferings or difficulties. Suffering. And just like when I develop anger, I'm suffering. When I develop hate, my mind is suffering. When I develop any other delusions, my mind is suffering. So in here, what it taught us here is practice Dharma, protect our mind by stop letting those delusions arise and making sure that my mind is fully controlled by wisdom. So that's the one thing. And then second thing comes here, it will come anytime. There's no time. There's not such a thing called that we can recognize it will come now, it won't come now. Even it is certain. And then here, mind tuning teaches us say that yes, it is definitely going to come, but it's uncertain about when it's going to come. Reason in what mind tuning teaches us here says that in humans' life in general is uncertain about that, about experiencing that, and particularly in our degenerate time now, it's uncertain. It's uncertain about when it's going to happen. And then also within this human life, there are more things that can help us to there are more things that can cause us to experience that than to survive. Means there are a lot of conditions that can cause us to experience that easily. We think there are much more causes that can protect, but in actual there are many causes. But we are certain they are not less. Basically, they are not less things that can cause us to experience death. And here also, our present present body that we have now is also very fragile. Very fragile. It's not that strong. So all this makes very clear it can happen anytime. And with this going through that, it was taught. We were by meditating on this, by contemplating on that, then we will develop the mind that really wanting to practice Dharma now because this body's life is uncertain and I have a lot of chances to meet conditions that can cause us to that experience, and also my body is also more fragile than other beings. So in here we come to make that decision. And then we develop we develop that decision within our mind, saying that I must practice Dharma now. And then very last, the third one, we try to come to also think, see, when that come to experience, which is going to come, and it says nothing can benefit us except wisdom and Dharma that I have developed within my mind. And which here says, yes, it is true. Look at here. When that happens, whatever material object that I have gathered in my entire life will not benefit me at that time. And then, if that can prevent it, then the wealthy people don't have to experience it. But it doesn't change it. No matter how much material object that we have gathered, when that comes, when that really has to come, when that comes, they cannot prevent it. And also, the members of friends and families and also cannot benefit at that time. Means they cannot also prevent can prevent that happening in my life. Otherwise, person who have huge families and huge number of friends, they don't have to go through that, but they also go through that. So it means that cannot also prevent it. And here also said, my body even itself also cannot prevent. Even at that time, I don't want it to separate from my this present body. But my body also will not hold me back. So see, also, this present body who never separated in entire this life, since beginning of this life till today. Never separated with me, my present body. Never, even once, right? But when that comes, it also cannot benefit me. It also cannot help me, or it cannot hold me back too. So in here is nothing can help. See, any material object cannot help me. Any members cannot help me. Any other sentient beings, my friends and family cannot help me. And my body, even my body itself cannot help me. So this is what I have now. What I have in my life that can really help me at that time. Only the wisdom that I have developed within my mind. Dharma that I have developed within my mind can help only. So with this state, when we come to make the decision will arise within my mind, says, I must practice Dharma. Only. So this is now, please remember that here, when we come to meditate on impermanent, using our own life using my own life, and then using the gross impermanent as an object to meditate on impermanent, and please use that. That is certain. It's uncertain when it's going to happen, and when that really happens, nothing can benefit except Dharma. And each of these points, I share with you three things to think about it, and then as you go through three points, and the decision also comes to the three, which says I must practice Dharma, and I must practice Dharma from now, and I must practice Dharma now only, or purely. So it really prevents my mind, prevents me getting into so much caught into, do you say that in English? In Tibetan we call it che mayimbe lega, means it's undharma. Do you say that in English? Opposite of dharma. You don't say that, right? So in Tibetan we say che mayimbe chao, means activities that are not dharma. activities that is not dharma. So from this kind of practice prevents me from getting into the activities that is opposite of dharma. That is not really dharma practiced. That is not really protecting my mind from engaging into negative actions. So okay, so do you have any thoughts on meditating on this particular subject? Gross impermanent, gross,
How about if we lose our minds?
If
If we lose our minds at the end of our life, will Dharma help us then?
if we have gained wisdom in our mind, we won't lose our mind. Really. Our delusion makes lose our control of our mind. Wisdom makes our mind to remember it.
So are you saying, Rinpoche, that even dementia and Alzheimer's won't happen if we follow the Dharma and gain wisdom?
I think so.
So I have a story of a Zen hospice.
Okay, please.
There's a teacher there that I met in another place. I didn't go to this place. And he tells a story in his book called Five Invitations.
Five invitations.
Five Invitations. How awareness of death can enhance living our lives. And he talks about one story of one man who was very close to death and out of his mind with pain. And he had practiced the Dharma for a long time. But there was nothing that this man that was accompanying him could do to soothe him. He was just in agony, deep pain, emotionally and physically. And it turns out that he grew up in a very Christian home. And the man who was accompanying him decided he would bring him a small statue of Jesus. And there was a nurse that was in the room, and she said, "Holy Jesus, whenever Jesus is here, everything is okay. No, merciful Jesus, whenever Jesus is here, everything is okay." And the man heard this, and all of a sudden he snapped out of what he was in. He needed that particular connection with that particular entity for him to feel
he's protected.
Yeah, even though he had done all of this work before, there was something that he needed that piece. So I'm questioning this, that there aren't other pieces of us that also need attending to from maybe before we were practicing.
Here, I will say here, it has mainly has to do with the trust and the faith in any object, such as like what we are talking now here is really having faith in Dharma, faith in wisdom. So if I also, in this case, we are also freeing our mind on trusting on physical object, which is outside my mind. Saying that, with saying that, this, or there's no other external object could be actually protected. So in this case, the point here is actually really developing trusting or faith in a wisdom, and not just that, also having some wisdom, also gain some wisdom within my mind too, and then experience it, and how my wisdom protects or benefits my mind from that. So this is how I have seen in meditators who have gained that level of wisdom and that confidence in their life, and they gain the power of controlling their mind, even when their mind dissolve into subtle level, which happens in our life when we were in the process of dying. Our gross mind, the mind that has a functioning about perceiving the external object, get into dissolve, and then dissolve into the subtle mind, and our subtle mind, that subtle mind even dissolve into very subtle mind, and then it leaves our body. So some of the meditators are aware when that happens. I've seen that. I have shared with you there are a number of monks whom I have met or saw during my life in the monastery. There's one of the teacher whom I also get to study too with him, called Gempende. And he knows he's dying because he got cancer. And he's very relaxed and doesn't want to spend remaining of his life with doing like just talking like that. There are a number of students who went to see him and feel very sad about that. And a number of students cry. He said, "Don't cry, I'm going to change my body. Don't worry, I'm going into the changing my body." And he's physically, as we know, he getting weaker, and he doesn't want to take any chemotherapy and all of that. He decided not to because he's in the last stage. He says not that beneficial. He said fine, and he was very happy. And then he wanted to make he have some certain practice that he does, and he have one of his close disciple called Gentezi Sherpa. He's also one of the senior monk, and he asked him to sit next to me and looks tomorrow is going to happen, and make sure you recite this and this next to my ear. And he's very calm and passed away in that. And he passed away, his gross mind stopped, means dissolve into subtle mind. Subtle mind also stop, means also dissolve into very subtle mind, but he's still there, not breathing, full of light, sweating. He stays around 8 or 9 days. And no smell, not breathing. Oh, this happened. This is, his body is warm, but not breathing. No smell at all. We check whether he's still there or not. We pull some senior monks I have seen, they pull his, what do you call that? Skin, pinch, and release it. It will go back, because that's one of the indication shows he's still alive. He's still living there. He's still there. Not his consciousness is still within his body. And when you touch your heart slowly, you can still feel warm. Some of them can stay months. There's one senior monk, I did not get to meet him in Lhasa. His name is called Gen Rinjung Gombo. He passed away after Cultural Revolution in Tibet, in Lhasa, and become very, 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 he's very well-known teacher. But when he was dying, he knows, and then he did not die like lying down. He sit down meditation. He even hold his those rituals object, and in the meditation posture, not laying in the chair, and just like that he passed away. And he stays over a month. And people in Lhasa at that time line up to paying respect to his body. So these shows that how he have gained so much realization of Dharma. And very clear, very aware at that time. They mainly, in general, these types of meditation, these types of awareness within those monks, they develop, and then they seize not only out of compassion and bodhicitta, they really seize emptiness. They meditate on emptiness, and they see every dissolving of their mind, dissolving of their four elements, and then stay into that meditation for that. So these means was they have really gained wisdom in their mind, realization in their mind, and then their mind is fully controlled with that.
Are these the subtle levels of impermanence that you're talking about earlier, that we're not meditating on yet?
Now I'm talking about a subtle meditation is we don't perceive it at this time. Something that changes momentarily. Even there's a nature within my mind that changed temporarily, but that we don't perceive it. We don't see it at this level. So we are not taught to meditate at this time. But impermanent, that we see something that's, things fall and breaks. There's a rain, tree fall, roads are damaged. Or there's no house, somebody built that house. Or there's no tree last year, now there's a beautiful tree grow. All of these type of impermanent is gross impermanent. And here in mind training teachings mainly taught us to focus, when we focus on gross impermanent, focus on something that's related with my own life directly. So that's entering into the passing. So here, if anyone who gain wisdom into their mind, their mind will be more awakened, more free from any kind of mental affliction. And so they won't be any having, and yes, as we get older, there may be less energy, because our mind also depends on body. Unless that person is really fully awakened one, unless that person is fully attained full enlightenment, mind still depends on a body. So there's a certain things that get from the body to be able to function. So mind may get a little bit weaker in that standpoint, but it doesn't get their mind less awareness. Always aware of things, and then aware of keeping Dharma in their mind. So they're making sure that they really get into the mind, really get into that type of wisdom or wisdom in that process. Yes.
Just a simple question, Rinpoche. What about if, in our daily life, we like Starbucks coffee, for instance, or we like a particular TV show on Wednesday night? Does that hinder us at death, that we're kind of attached to that thing? Even if we're a practitioner, for instance?
You mean attached to
Starbucks coffee every day, I gotta have my 2 cups, or, and then I love this Netflix series, on Wednesday night that, if you're attached in some way to that, even though we're practicing Dharma or so forth, is that still gonna hinder us?
Do you want me to hear? Do you want to hear something to say is okay?
No, is it that subtle is what I'm getting at. You don't have to be, attached to your wife or husband or whatever, but, even something simple.
it's a question is here. As long as it is delusion, as long as it is a mental inflection, it do have a function of hindering. It comes with a function, function that is hindering because it's a deluded mind. So now you make decision on that. See whether is it.
So then pure practice, like you said earlier, you have to forgo even things like that. You have to let go of even things like that.
You don't have to stop drinking the coffee. I don't think you have to stop drinking the coffee and anything, but you have to stop having a strong desire attachment. You have, deluded mind towards that object, but you don't have to stop it because we eat food, we drink something that is good for my body, and we do say that in the prayer. But this is one joke that one of my friends always make. When we make the offerings, food, first we offer to 3 Jews, and then we also mention about the purpose of eating it, saying that I'm not intending to eat out of attachment and this and this and that. I'm simply eating to sustain my body and healthy to be able to do Dhamma practice, all of that. Right? This is the prayer, and then so see here, and that shows that our even the daily activities of eating, keeping our body healthy is also meant to be benefiting others by practicing a Dhamma. But my point, the joke part of that is one of the monks who always teaching after we say the prayers while we're eating, okay, now you one more lie. you made one more lie. Do you get that?
Oh, because he's dedicating it to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha.
No, he's saying that you are eating a food out of attachment.
Yeah.
So, anyway, of course, we are not fully free from, we have lots of desire attachment in our mind. We are not saying I'm free from it, but of course, our intention, the gross level, we try to put into purpose, not out of desire attachment. We try to have something that is really turning into Dhamma practice. In our gross level, subtle level, at this time, I don't have any control of it. Really, my desire attachment and anger, subtle form of the anger is within my mind now. Subtle form of desire attachment is within my mind now. I have no control of removing them at this time. At this time. So at this time, my only power is not letting gross anger arise, gross desire attachment arise, gross hate arise in my mind. That I do have it. We know that, right? So sometimes something happens and I'm about to get anger, I can release my mind and say, no, it's okay. Let's accept. You can fix that. Don't worry. So then if I talk to my mind in that way, I release my mind from developing that strong anger. So it's good things. And that really helps. But it can come easily because of subtle anger is there. Subtle anger is there. So there's no really need to think. It just comes. But the compassion of that, we need to think at this time. Because we don't have the subtle compassion in my mind. I only have the seed of compassion in my mind. I don't have the subtle compassion in my mind all the time. Anyway, so here, the getting into this and getting into wisdom into our mind, we do gain the control of our mind. And in any situation, now one of the situations that we are speaking now is situation of facing the death. And during that time also, if I have enough wisdom and enough faith, enough practice that I have done, it will. However, all the virtues that I have collected, all the good karma that I have collected, all the good action that I have collected, which I have dedicated for Dhamma practice for everybody, even I don't gain the wisdom like those monks that I mentioned to you, but my effort of keeping my mind within the Dharma, in that, when I face that situation, my mind still can be peace. And not only that, actually, mainly, I will be really fertilizing the karma that I really, really should help to ripe at that time. And those karma will get help to ripe from how I keep my mind in that positive state of level. Into positive state. If let's say, right now, I don't have so much Dharma in my mind, but I learn about karma, I learn about compassion, I learn about, having a respect and faith in Dharma. So if I really pass away or die in that state of mind, and that state of mind definitely going to help to ripe the karma that will takes or guides or takes me to take a birth where I will meet Dharma again, where I will meet opportunity to practice Dharma again, because I was able to help to ripen the karma that I have dedicated for Dharma, that I have really dedicated for other sentient beings to develop Dharma in their mind. So in here, so every moment from now on, our main function is, our main thing is to really able to place my mind in the positive side and then maintain continually. May face difficult sometimes, but we do it gently. And we do it really, we do it with our understanding. And we don't force myself. Sometimes I may get a little tired of doing it, but very gently we do. And then more we do, more I think about the meaning, and my mind become also liking. And then through more I become liking, I will get less difficulties, less tired. Anyway, so any other thoughts on that may practice? Please, as beginning to do with the 3 point and bring those 9 reason, or each of these point has a three points to think about it, and then 3 decision. And remember that to keep practicing Dharma throughout my day, throughout my life, and believing that actual protection, really true protecting my mind, is Dharma. True actual protecting. What protects my mind from experiencing any types of sufferings, what protects any negative karma ripening, what really actually protects? It's only Dharma protects us. Positive mind protects me from, and that wisdom protects me. So there's a different term we are using it, but actually what we meant, what is really meant. Any thoughts? Yeah.
I'm not quite, is there a process that you can share about when tragedy happens to sentient beings that is not a worldly tragedy? I mean, is not, from weather conditions or from this and that, but when people are harming other people and tragic things happen in the world, is there a process that you can share of moving through either beginning with impermanence or ending with impermanence? Do you understand what my question is?
Partially. Can you please?
Well, when you hear of something tragic that's happened.
Okay, I get that.
Okay, I don't want to be specific.
Sure.
And we think of impermanence.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like skipping over the tragedy.
Okay, got it.
so the process of holding all sentient beings in our practice, without skipping over
Okay.
that this tragic thing has
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Mm-hmm. In here, I would like to tell you in this situation, karma. Impermanent also be one thing, but the karma is the reason that can tells me the cause of it. So this is a very complicated situation too. Again, when there's a tragic, get involved with a lot of people. They are not some people. We hear some people out of deluded mind, out of really negative mind, engaging into action of killing or these things. Then this is a situation, tragic situation, and get involved with a lot of people in there. So absolutely, number one, it's a karma, and how and what type of is a very specific and detailed. Is very hard to tell because we don't have that wisdom to see very precisely. But of course, we know one way we see is a karma of whatever tragic people experience in that situation. In that situation, relating with that situation, they must have a karma relating with how they experience. Some people may experience, hitting or killing or beating. That has to do with the karma that had related with that killing, or she or he or they must have some karma, and somehow it riped. And the person who did that terrible things, yes, that is also what he did. Also is a result of the negative karma. If I kill somebody, it is a negative karma of killing in the past. Means I have killed some in the past. So, in here, from practice point of view, as you're pointing, yes, true, we don't like to skip that. And what we do in this kind of situation, number one, our thought. Yes, of course, I'm not happy with what happened, but it doesn't mean that I'm rejecting what happened. And I'm letting my mind to accept, not with saying it's a good, saying that, must be very negative karma. The people have created who experienced that tragedy. Not viewing them as a wrong or right. It's just simply seeing this situation took place, this experience happened, and there must be karma. And whoever is experiencing it, they all must have karma into it. And so here now, I wish, and I accept, I wish for them to get free from those negative karma which they going through now. So, and karma ripes this karma is not a ripening result. These karmas are not, we don't say is a ripening result. These are, the karma that, one example, when I lied to someone, that lying karma also gives result that is similar to the action itself. Which means if I lie to someone, that karma will lead me to karma can give that particular karma can give me result to experience as a lying again. So that's one of the karma's result. There are numbers again, and then it also have a karma. Another result is to be being with others who also lied. That karma of lying also gave me result to be with the people who also lied. this is called environmental result. So being in a place where people lied, so I get influenced by it. So same thing, the karma, and there are other results too. The ripening result won't happen in that way. Ripening result is only taking a birth as a human or others. So, of course, we will not just let my mind pass by saying it happened, it's impermanent, everything will be fine. We won't say in that way, but we will, as a caring for them, we should wish for everybody to get them free from that sufferings and their difficulties. Not only physical problems, also mental problems. And also wish whatever karma is right, we wish that karma finished. Karma, that negative karma, whichever everyone who's going through that difficulty, may every negative karma by that experience, may they can be finish it, and they may not have to go this tragic again. So, and then of course, saying prayer, wishing your virtues for them can be one thing that we do. But in mentally, we view that situation in that way. We should not view that situation, even as a tragic, very, very unhappy or very unfortunate situation. We should not also view that situations to really develop anger towards anybody. We should not really develop any negative state of mind towards, because that won't have any positive impact on others in situation. That will certainly going to have a negative impact on my mind. And of course, we all know that anger is not the answer for any difficulties. Compassion is it. Understanding of it. And from the Buddhist point of view, again, as I said, the karma plays perfect into that. And then compassion too. We will say the person who did terrible things, he is not in his control. He is completely controlled by crazy mind. And that's lead him to do terrible things. And the people, unfortunately, who get that may seem at this time for innocent in there, but they're not free from having the karma to experience that. Otherwise, it will not happen in them. That's why when I was a little boy, I share that story. I always get that. See, at that time I was a young monk. I get so sad at that time, because near the monastery, not very far from the monastery, we have one jungle, and some of the afternoon I go there to recite the text with loudly because there's nobody. It's a forest next to the monastery, and place where I go, there's a lot of ant, small thousands of ant, and they build a huge, what do you call that? Mount, like they built mount, and you see thousands coming, and sometimes I really look at them, and they're so enthusiastic, they go and they bring things, and they're so continue. We don't have that type of continuing energy. They're so continuing it. If I try to disturb them to go that direction, they still want to find, I see that. And I really get maybe attached to them. And one day, that part of the jungle, government wants to build something, Indian government wants to build something in there, and then they really build a truck and they destroy that. I was so sad. I think I'm really attached to those ants, and I see their hard work of their building that, and I see, oh, this is really earthly, tragic for them, terrible tragic. They worked so hard for so many months and so many days, and now what do you call that, mount? Yeah, mount was completely gone, completely destroyed. So This is also one of the tragic. So, same thing, there are a lot of tragic that is happening in the world. And of course, we don't want them to happen. But this is another point, another thing that we share in the process of developing renunciation. We talk about the nature of samsara. And within the nature of samsara, there's always some problems and tragics, difficulties. Yes.
I feel like I have to say this out loud. I grew up in Jewish tradition, and we just passed through a very sacred time in that tradition, an 8-day holiday called Passover.
Oh, Passover, yes.
Mm-hmm. And I did not celebrate this year. For many years, actually, we didn't do the ceremony. But in my head, there's always a phrase from this reading. You do year after year after year, the same story you tell. And there's this phrase that even though our enemy's suffering was the result of their own actions, we do not rejoice over their downfall and defeat. And that's like the other half of what I heard you talking about. Is like, so I know in this life I've heard a lot of people say, well, they deserve that, or that person's in prison and they deserve the death penalty, and those people deserve what Trump deserves, and because, and sure, I would like to see him. Sorry. I would like to see the people who are harming other people and life on earth to go into downfall and defeat. Am I going to burn for that one? But I would not rejoice over that. I would rejoice over that other people are free now. Like the Egyptians released the Jewish people, and the Jewish people were free now. And the Egyptians were killed. That's the way the story goes. But still, we wish it could have happened another way. So, and I just felt like I had to say that all this stuff is happening all the time, all these different stories. And I think people think a lot about winners and losers in the world. Like we were right and we won, and you were wrong and you lost. But I think it's more.
This is completely opposite of Dharma. Again,
Yeah.
I want to tell you that. See, Dharma is really not completely against about I win and you lose. Right? Rang, Jel, Shem, Pang, we say that. Rang is a self, Jel means win or victor. And then Shem is other, Pang means lose or lose. So Dharma is completely not about it. Completely about opposite. Completely opposite of it. So anybody who did terrible things, we don't say, Dharma did not tell us to think about, they should get, they deserve that. No, there's the completely, Dharma really don't tell us that. Because it makes, the reason here, when I wish for someone to lose, when I say they lost, good, and they defeated, good, they should lose, if I wish in that way, that wish is a negative state of mind. And who is developing? I'm developing it. And I'm getting that action in my mind. I'm getting that karma in my mind. It's just like anger. When someone did terrible things, I get anger to him. And as basic, and who's getting hurt by that anger? I'm getting it. So that's why Dharma says here, please don't do. And anybody in this world, that's why I was telling earlier to you that when we see someone looks like a very good, having no problems and sufferings, but they may be internally creating so much negativities, and that is basically suffering. Yes, you understand?
I just wanted to say that for the purpose of the practicing, right? I feel like the phrase, there's a phrase in English that says, 2 wrongs doesn't make a right. So, when a bad event happens, right, and it's a very bad tragedy, very negative, we shouldn't be happy that happened, but I don't think being sad, it's also helping to alleviate what the tragedy that happens, because sadness is also negative emotions, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I think it'd be best to just like put compassion to the troubled mind who caused the tragedy,
Sure.
and also compassion of those that were like immediately affected by the tragedy.
Sure. Sure.
And I feel like that's a helpful way for us
Absolutely.
as a secondary individual to cope with the tragedy,
Sure.
and also to like help get better.
Sure. Certainly, yeah. So that shows that compassion is the answer for both sides. So anger is not the solution. Compassion is a solution for every difficulties, every problems, every tragedy. So, and Dharma is, again too, Dharma is all about accepting. Dharma is really trying to equalizing between all of us. That we are all in same nature. We are all same. And always use your own feeling as an example to know that you should not hurt others, no matter what. Because when you get hurt, how do you feel? How do I feel? I feel very bad when someone hurt me. And then use that as an example. And they also have the same feeling like me. Everyone has the same feeling like me, so must not hurt. And must not wish them to have bad things to happen in their life. So it's a really, now we all have quite good understanding, and now we have get to that. But in many samsaric people don't have that understanding, so they still hold saying that they did bad, they should deserve, and we are the one good, so we deserve the good. There are a lot of people, and I'm not saying there are people who are still believing in that very strongly, but of course people who believe that they are also to object to feel compassion. They don't also. We should not also blame them. We should not also have a negative mind towards them too. We should wish for them to have also understanding like the way we are now, sharing each other, having compassion, love, and we share for we also wish for them to not to have negative thoughts. Yes, true, because I see that these days a lot of divisions, we see a lot of things going. And now this is a moment that if we can able to spend more compassion, wish out of compassion towards this, and I think it's necessary. If I can able to influence one people to have a more positive mind, it's good. Number doesn't matter. Even if I can able to share someone to have a more positive in this situation. But of course, do things what is good for what I believe will be good for people, good for others, but with the compassion, right? Okay. So thank you, and please think about meditating on impermanent, and look at how you experience, and make sure you take. Since it is all this meditation that we do now, precious human life, impermanent, and as well as others we do, since we don't have that actual experience yet, so we do need to guide our mind like mother's taking a baby. So I use my intellectual understanding as a mother and to take my internal mindset. Oh, now I really develop that understanding, the decision. Say I must practice Dharma. Even that decision is not really arise yet from my meditation practice. So we at this level, we have to guide our mind in that way. Say I develop that decision that I must practice Dharma. I must practice Dharma from now. I must practice Dharma purely. Thank you. So please, dedication now. Gyawa de Sunam Yeshe Tsazoshin Sunama Yeshe Lejanwe Tamba Kunyi Tobarasho Neme Zewe Tejen Chinvezi Jime Jembe Wambo Jambe Yang Devo Malu Janse Samveda Kanji Jebe Tsunye Tsongkapa Losan Trape Shabla Sovan Mimi Deme Dejen Jere Jime Jembe Wambo Jambe Yang Devo Malu Janse Samveda Kanji Jebe Tsunye Tsongkapa Losan Trape Shabla Sovan Meme Zewe Dejen Chenrezi Kime Yeme Wampo Jampeyan Depo Malu Jamse Sangweda Kajen Kepe Tsuken Sankapa Losan Dabe Shabla Sohade. Thank you.